Hello everyone. I hope everybody's doing good today. So today we're going to make a simple beginner ring. Let's see. And I'm not going to put any add-ons or anything onto it. I'm going to use a raw crystal or rough crystal. I have the amethyst, and then I also have citrine. Hey Tina. Hello 101. How's everybody doing today? I'm going to hop over here and share our link to our class today on Facebook just so everyone can have the option to be here with us, basically. So I'm going to do that real quick. Do that share link here. I hope everybody had a very Merry Christmas. We had a pretty good one. I do have to say so myself. The kids loved what they got. So I'm opening my Facebook real quick and I'm going to share this link with our group, which is Wire Weavers and Wrappers Intuition. And that way everybody that wants to watch or make this with us, they can. And then I have to go to class topic chat. Hey, 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 y'all. I would really like to make a ring with the citrine points, but I can't think of which metal would go best with citrine. Come on, my phone's being slow today, y'all. Almost ready. I didn't have much time to send invites this week because I was so busy with so I just done what I could. So that's understandable, right? Let me make sure everything's looking right and not blurry. It's fine. Okay, so let's get started. So I'm going to start out with some 20 gauge round wire. And I have a bobbin. These bobbins are pretty old. That's why they're like, they're made of some kind of flexible plastic. So they get this color around the edges as they age, kind of like an old Tupperware dish. I got to get some new ones of these. But that's the only issue I have with these. I have some 24 gauge half round, and then I have the 20 gauge round wire, which is what we're going to start with. Do you think copper would match the citrine, Tina? Tina, are you there? Where's Shell? Let me make sure that she knows that I'm live real quick. Oh, that's going to spin out. Hang on. There we go. Shell, are you coming to class today, girl? All right. So we're gonna make a size 6 in this ring for this ring. Make sure that's what size it is. Jeez, I'm sorry, y'all. Yeah, 6. Okay, so let's make a 6. I'm going to measure out 4 pieces of 20 gauge round copper wire, and I'm going to measure 6 inches. I'm not going to do any add-ons or anything like that because I just want to keep it simple so that any beginners out there maybe could make it, you know, or semi-beginners even. I have a bead pendant tutorial that is really handy for beginners. It gets you used to the way that wire feels when you bend it, and it helps you learn tension and grip. So I have that tutorial on the YouTube as well, if anybody would like to try that one. So I'm going to cut out. John, do you know where my cutters were? My red wire cutters? Did they fall? Well, I guess I'm stuck with these. They're semi-flush, so I'm going to have to file the ends because I don't want any pokey ends. Flat ends just look more professional too, so that's a plus. So we only need the ruler once. It's a half of a 12-inch ruler, so I cut it in half and ended up with six inch ruler. So, because I don't think they make those, but this one is specifically for making rings and centering wire. And again, we're going to do three pieces. Oof. Woo! So I'm doing it like this because I want to make sure that all of the wires are the same length. So we're also going to need a little scrap piece of wire to size the ring band. That way we know how big to make the ring band. Okay, so my Zerons are missing too, along with my wire cutters, John. My Zerons. My main pliers are missing, along with wire cutters. Are you looking there? I'm gonna look in here. Here they go. They were hiding. And I found these. Okay. First, I'm just gonna take this one of my older files and just file the ends down. You can use a fine tooth file or, you know, just whichever. I'm gonna use my bench pen here. To file the ends smooth. Because I used the I used the semi-flush wire cutters. And then anytime that you file something, you'll end up with like a little it's like a little burr on one side or the other, because when you file, you're going like this, right? So it's going to push the metal forward. So you'll end up with a burr on either side that needs to be removed. So always remember that when you're filing something. I'm also going to mark the dead center of the wires. You could use chalk pencils, or you could use like a Sharpie or something. But chalk pencils don't rub off on my skin as much as Sharpies do. So I like to use these sometimes. And you'll end up with a little mark here that's, and I'm going to show you how to measure how far around you need your ring band to go. Now, if you're not doing any embellishments or like any add-ons or additions or anything like that, you need it to be almost exact measurement. Instead of going like a little bigger, you need to make it the exact size. So I'm going to go around my ring mandrel on the size 6 and just make sure that your wire is flat all the way around, flat up against your ring mandrel, and make sure that it's on the right size. So I'm going to do the opposite. Instead of cutting it exactly in the center, like normally with rings that I do add-ons to, I would cut it right here, which is dead center, but I want to have some room and I'm making a simple design, so I'm going to cut it right here. And now I have the measurements for a size 6 ring. So this is like pinkish purple amethyst, and it's going to sit right here, right? And then I have just enough room, extra room, to wrap the wires through the ring band. I'm just going to hold one end of my measured piece here and just straighten that out. Woo! I wasn't gripping it hard enough. Now, what this does is it tells us how big we want to make our ring band, right? So how long we need it to be from here to here, or from here to here. So you can take like a piece of painter's tape or a yard sale sticker or something and put it around the end, and then use a hole punch to punch a hole through it and write down size 6 ring band. So you'll always have this little measurement piece, and you can use it in future rings. No embellishment, because this is a simple one. No add-ons somehow. It's like something that you know that you'll be able to reference later on. So I'm going to lay this out straight and center my wires back onto my ruler. Now I like to take this extra step just so I can make sure that everything is measured out correctly. So you don't want to go through all the trouble of making a ring and then it not be the right size. So you also need to center this out. And if you're going to use it for later reference, put like a permanent mark for the center. I think that's pretty centered. I'll mark it right here. And then I'll scooch it up against my band here. This also allows for the right measurements on the sides. So that's really important in making these types of rings. And then I'm going to mark this right at the end, right at the tip of this size 6 wire. Size 6 ring band measurement wire. There we go. And then I'm going to mark it right on the tip of it on this side. So now I have a nice measurement for a size 6. She's not here yet, baby. Say hi to everybody. Say hi, everybody.
I say hi to the camera first.
Okay, the camera is everybody. So I'm going to take my 30 gauge weaving wire. You can also use 26 or 28 gauge weaving wire. And you can use 18 gauge base wires. Sissy says hi, everyone. Hi, everybody. Right? So I'm going to check the chat. Oh, hey, Shell. Oh, you got baby Nuggets.
Hi, Shell.
She's got her grandbaby.
Oh, you know her name is Mom?
Hey, Nancy. It did go well, thank you. Hey, Selena. Hey, 101. Hey, Tina.
Hi. They say hi to Mom.
They all say hi.
Hi.
They did. They all say hi, Jaina. So you can also use half round for the ring band. So I'm just going to use my favorite weave, my favorite 3-wire weave. Okay. So I'm going to do 3. So wait, let's see here. I got to redo that. So I'm going to bring my weaving wire up through the first 2 wires. And then I just put it down in between my fingers right here where I can hold it. That way it doesn't move while I'm putting the first few rotations or stitches in. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. So I just wrapped 6 times around the design that goes on our ring band. Like this one is half round. And it's only a 2-wire design. That's the dainty ring tutorial. So I want it to start out, well, right at this mark. I want it to be right on that mark. And now I'm going to, I gotta move everything so my camera will focus a little better. So I'm going to bring this around and then wrap the first 2 wires. 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And then I'm going to come up between first 2 wires and then wrap the last 2 wires. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then come back up between this last wire, the last 2. Wrap 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, as you're going to need to push your weave together. So this is going to keep your weave nice and tight. That way your pattern comes through nicely. If your aligned wires get moved around a little while you're weaving, that's okay. All you have to do is push your ends back together. Come on, you. Okay, so I'm going to come back down. So I'm going to wrap the last two wires together by bringing my weaving wire up through the first two, and then wrap the last two wires 4 times. So I'm just going to go up through the last two wires, and then I'll wrap the first two wires 4 times. And then the first wire 6 times. So I have to come up through these last two wires and then begin wrapping the first two. If you're a beginner, you can just take half round or this round wire, anchor off like we did right here, and then just wrap them all together. If you or just use your favorite 3-wire weave. So I'm going to bring my wire up through these first 2 wires and wrap the last 2 4 times. So we're going back up again. So just keep pushing your weave together as you go. And then I'm going to wrap this last wire 6 times. Come back up through the first 2. Begin wrapping the last 2 wires. Four times. Then you're going to have to bring your weaving wire up through the last 2 and then wrap the first 2 4 times. Then back to 6 around the first wire. So I'm going to keep doing the same pattern until I reach these marks here, because that would mean that I'm done wrapping my ring band or weaving it. Now we're going to go back up again. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4. Come back up between the first 2 wires. Wrap the last 2. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Back to 6 on the last wire. Oops. It's in the, it's in that one, the, sorry, game box. Uno is. Don't lose it, Tanner. Okay. Oops. Now, when you get to the end, there is a trick you can do to go across the wires, just to make sure that everything stays in the right position whenever you're setting your stone. I've ended up with a lump right here, so I'm gonna unweave this just a little and then I'll fix it. If you can see that right there, there's like a lump right here. Come on, you. My camera's being stubborn today. It's like right here, anyways. So if you mess up and you're using 30 gauge, usually you can only unravel it once because it'll end up work hardening and it'll break. So be careful if you have to unravel the 30 gauge. That also happens with 28, but not as often. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, I got it. Oh man, seriously. Now, if you're using 30 gauge, just straighten it with your fingernails, because if you use your wire straightener, it can harm your wire. It'll contribute to work hardening it, it'll cause it to break. So I'm going to refer to my ring sizer here because this mark looks really weird. Just to make sure I'm going from the right mark to mark. Make sure you push your weave together before you do measuring, because sometimes you can get inaccurate measurements if it's not pushed together before you do measuring. I'm just scooching my weave down here a little, if it will let me. So I'm going to go across all 3 wires. The way I'm going to do this is when you wrap, your last wire 6 times, come up between like the first 2 wires, back down between the last 2 wires to wrap that middle wire, and then come around the middle wire there. I'm going to do this a couple of times. You don't have to do this, but I just want to make sure that everything bends right whenever I get to that point. Now I'm going to trim this wire off and then tuck it. I'm just going to bring this out a little and then bring the weaving wire on around and then down in the middle. That way it doesn't touch the skin or snag on anything. I'm just going to push that wire back up. Now on this side, I'm going to unravel 1 rotation and trim this wire. Tuck it or smooth it out against the wire there, and then I'm going to weave up all 3 just to make sure that everything bends right when I get to that point. I'm going to come up between the first 2 wires and wrap that first wire. Or let's do last 2. I'm going to come up between the last 2 wires, then up between the first 2, back down between the last 2, and then around the first wire. Around the first wire, up between the last 2 wires and back down between the first 2, and then around the last wire, and then now I'm going to trim it. And then tuck it back down in between these last 2 wires. I'm going to go use the ladies' room, and then I'll be right back, you guys. Put this in the freezer. It's like that one. Alright, get rid of it. Get me over there. There you go. Get more of the water. Hey, Harley's Wild Jewelry.
Right here.
If anyone has any questions at all, feel free to ask them and I'll answer them the best that I can.
Set her on the pedal. I beat your goal. Cover me up.
Hi. Hey, Jewelry 101. Okay, so let's get started. So I'm going to use this raw piece of pink amethyst. It's like got a pink hue to it. Now, if you are wrapping a rough crystal with me, keep in mind that each crystal is unique. So in order to set a unique crystal, you're going to have to adjust your wires to fit the crystal instead of the other way around. I'll be right back. Oh, jeez. Okay. I may need round nose pliers. I'm going to put all of my tools out of the frame here. I've got marker on my table. Should be fine. Just hope my camera don't try to focus on it. So I'm going to grab my ring mandrel because we're going to need it. First, I'm going to bend these wires out so they can, so that we can bend our ring band into place. Jaina. So I'm going to put it around the size 6. And I don't want the flat side to come into play yet, but it's there. So just try to bend around it, or try to put the front of your ring on it. Or if you have a completely round one, then that's really great too. So I'm just going to bend these around like that for now. You can even bend around a smaller ring size just to get the round form. And then go back down to the ring size that you'd like. Make sure you flip your ring band over, because if you don't, you're going to get a lopsided ring band. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to place my finger up close to right here where we went over all 3 wires and bring this out. Now I'm going to do this on all my wires. So we're doing 3 wires. So you can leave, you can bring your middle wire over onto the opposite side of each side there. So I'm going to bring this one to this side and this one to this side, right? And I want them to be close to one another. So I'm going to hold them flat beside one another. First I'll do this one. So I usually use my fingernail to get the right curve. Somehow the heat that's produced from rubbing the wire helps to bend it. I don't know how, but it does. Okay, so now you should have something that looks a little bit like this. Now you're going to bring this down to whichever size you chose to make, and bend these up against your ring mandrel the best that you can. Okay. I want to make sure that they're all flat, and because this one's like all bent out of whack. So I'm going to bring it up level with the other ones. Just level them out to where this is as level as you can make it. This one is almost healed as a double terminated crystal. It's pretty cool. I want to make sure that it fits right. Just adjust until you're satisfied, basically. To make the seat a little more bigger, if you need to make it bigger for your raw crystal, just bring it back up and then curve it out with a bigger curve. 24 gauge half round. I'm just going to cut off a few inches because that's all I'll need for now. See if I can find my straighteners. So what you're going to do here is just anchor off your half round wire. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to do it upside down, just so I can get the right bend in here. Now you need to make sure that the round is up and the half is down. And the way you do that is when you buy half round wire, the half round part is always facing out. Also, the half round part looks kind of like a classic wedding band, and then the other half is completely flat and it's a bit more shiny than the front. So that's a pretty helpful tip to distinguish between which part is half round and which part is flat pretty much. And you want the half round sticking up to show through in your piece. So I'm going to anchor off once or twice maybe and trim the tail end off. And then just tuck it. I'll be right back. My daughter needs my help. Okay, y'all. I'm sorry. So I'm going to finish tucking this half round in between the wires. And then I'm just going to push it down to about right here. I'm going to bring it up around these two wires. And bring it around bring it back around this. It's got to come up between the middle. Hang on. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm going to straighten it because I don't want it to flip while I'm weaving or wrapping. It did. It's okay, I'll fix it. So sometimes half round will flip while you're weaving, but you can fix that just by straightening it out. So I'm bringing this up between these middle two wires. And bring it up here. If I ever go out of frame, sometimes it's because I'm double checking because I like everything to look nice and neat as I can make it. It's like an OCD thing of mine. So I'm going to bring these together and then bring my half round on around these last two wires here. I brought it up in between these two, and I'm going to bring it back around. The first two. And then up between the first two. Around the last two, and then I'm just going to wrap it, tie it off here. I'm going to trim this about halfway and leave some room. I'm going to do the same thing on the opposite side. and then it's going to end over here. And then I'm just going to leave it right there. So before you put your crystal in, make sure everything is nice and even. Well, as even as you can make it. And I'm going to flatten that out one more time. And bring my crystal in. So just pick whichever side that you want showing. So I'm going to hold my crystal. So on the side that has the single wire, I had to do some adjusting because you need this weave or wrap to be even with one another. As even as you can make it. I need to trim some of this. So just set your stone down in there. Bring your wires up. I'm not going to use pliers because it is a natural stone with a natural shape. I'm just going to bring these around. They need to, I want this side to be wrapped with half round all the way up. You can use round wire or you can do whatever you like with this portion of the piece. But I'm just going to bring my half round up the side here. I'm going to do this side real quick. So I messed one up a little because I ended my half round on the double wires instead of the single ones. But that's okay. I can fix that by just coming in with some half round and wrapping it around this wire. And then bring my stone out for a second. So if you're a beginner, you can skip this part or you can do it along with me. If you like, it's totally up to you. It doesn't have to be on here.
Leave me alone. Just leave me alone.
What?
Daddy,
Dana.
Dad. Dad.
Okay, so now that I've gotten both sides connected, I'm just going to trim under here. And then I'm going to do the same to this side, only I need to add a few more stitches, and I need to adjust around the parts that have ended up being, that are not touching the stone, like this one's not touching the stone. So I need to adjust that before I connect anything. Just gently adjust, because you're handling a natural crystal, and if you don't know what, like if your crystal is a 9 on the Mohs scale or hardness scale, you need to know your stone whenever you're working on it. That way you know what all you can do, and how much pressure you can put on your stone without hurting it. So I'm just basically squeezing this almost like you would do a prong. Only it's not a prong, right? But anyways, it is a natural crystal. Remember that while you're doing this. So I'm going to run my ring back onto my ring mandrel and push it down as far as it'll go on both sides. Now if it seems to be a bit bigger, that's okay, because you're getting ready to adjust it. So I'm just doing some last minute adjustments, and then I'm going to finish up the weave on this side. We'll wrap. So I'm using the half round that I used earlier across these, and I'm just going to bring them around these wires, just like I did almost on this weave, only I'm doing one rotation in between, and then I'm doing like one stitch across 2 wires, and then I'll go back down in between, and then back up over this one, and then I'm going to tie it off here, and then we're going to do a hidden, we're going to hide the tail ends of these, and we're not going to do any add-ons. I just want to keep it simple, as easy as I can. Now you can use round wire on these, and do your favorite 3-wire weave. You can do the weave where we went across all 3 wires too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring these down close to my ring band. And then curve them, right? And bring them through your ring band. And back up. So I want hidden wires, right? So I'm going to trim these and leave about, let me see if I can get my measure, because I want to tell you about how many millimeters is sticking up. Two bits left to work with. Please excuse my measure here, because I use it for cutting stones. Whoa, I think my battery's dead. 0 out. It's like 2.5 millimeters. So when you trim the wire close to the ring band, you want to leave about 2 millimeters or 2.5 millimeters, which is 2.5 millimeters. And then just bring it
Okay, here your art.
down beside your stone. And then clamp it down onto your ring band with your pliers. And now that is going to be hidden down in here. So I'm going to bring this wire where it's behind this one that we went around there, and I'm going to trim it and leave 2.5 millimeters to work with,
I'll have to get this bucket.
and bend it up, and then clamp it down onto my ring band. I'm going to do the same to this side. Now I'm leaving out this middle wire for now.
Like this.
Now this middle wire, the one that we're left with, I'm going to use my round nose pliers and bring it up on top of the stone here. You don't have to do this part if you don't want to. So you'll end up with something that looks a little bit like this. And then when you polish it, you'll have like a nice little vine design there, or like a little animal or something you could put on there. Totally up to you. I'm going to do the same thing to this side, only in the opposite direction. So I'm bringing it up and over toward the double wire side. And then I'm just going to bring that curl in a little bit more. Hold it with my round nose pliers and bend with my finger back to the other side. Hold, bend. Hold and bend. So just keep doing that until you get to the end of your wire. So I have like maybe 4 bends on this one. So I'm going to do the same to this side, and then the very last bend is going to be a loop. So I'm going to take the very tip of my round nose pliers and bring that loop around. Right? And then I'm going to use these just to make it smaller and make the end go into place so that it's as close to the curve there as I can get it. So I got some wire marks there. I'm going to use this little agate burnisher to polish out those tool marks right there, which they're not very prominent, but they're there. So I'm just rubbing it on there, and then that's going to get those tool marks off. Okay, so I'm going to bring the end of it down into the single wire side. Bring it under. This is the single wire that we wrapped. With half round. Bring it on through with my pliers. And then I'm going to bring it right back up. And I want it to lay against that wire right there. Only my curve is not being very prominent. So I'm going to just flatten and then just squeeze it together there. Bring it right down onto that wire. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed making this ring with me. So we've got a comfortable size 6. Now I'm going to push it down as far as it'll go on both sides real quick, just to make sure that it's not like a lopsided band. Okay, so anyways, Hope you guys enjoyed making this ring with me today. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you next week. Bye. Thank you, Cheryl.